Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Mary J. Mora and I'm a Nigerian YouTuber based in the US. So in today's video, we'll be talking about visa processing, US visa processing, possible questions you could be asked, the question I was asked and how I answered my questions, and also other possible questions and how I think you should answer your questions. So without any further ado, let's get right into this video. So the visa interview is going to last nothing less than 5 minutes, you guys. I think 5 minutes is even too much. And before, because I have a list of questions I already wrote down while I was preparing for my visa interview. But before I start listing out these questions and the answers, I just want to say that they basically want to know four things, you guys. Just four things. One, if you know what you're going to the US to do. Two, who is going to be your sponsor? You don't want somebody that is going to get there and is going to get stranded. Three, have you been to the US before? And four, if you plan on coming back. To my own knowledge, I feel like this is what they need to know. They are going to now these questions are going to come in different forms. They won't come directly. Now this is what I mean. For example, let's just get right into the questions. The first question I have here is, have you been to the US before? I was asked this question. In fact, this was my first question. And yes, I have been to the US before. I came to the US twice and oh, yes, I have. But the lady asked me when. Then I proceeded by saying, okay, I was in the US this year and that year for this and this. Now, mind you, there are several ways of answering these questions. You can answer in terms of, like, you can give them so many details, like, okay, have you been to the US before? Someone will say, oh yes, I've been to the US. I was in the US this year. I came here for this, came here for that. Meanwhile, another person can just be like, yes, I have been to the US, and then wait for them to ask further questions. Okay, when were you in the US? Like, what year? What did you come for? So people are going to give you different advices in terms of, oh, when they ask you questions, just tell them everything you know. Meanwhile, some people tell you, just go straight to the point. I was advised to go straight to the point, but you guys, getting there, I literally met, like, the girl in front of me. The way she answered her questions, and you have to be very audible. The way she answered her questions, she was so audible, so confident, which you should. But she was giving, like, she was giving a lot of details. Like, I was just like, my plan was to not give. My plan was to just go straight to the point and not talk too much, so I don't put myself in trouble. But this girl was saying a lot, like, she was giving a lot of details, and I was like, maybe I should actually give a lot of details. But I did not change my plan. The plan was to just go straight to the point and just ask directly what they, give the answer. So I was like, okay, Mary Jane, focus. Don't give too much information, just go straight to the point. Don't allow someone's answer distract your answer. Yeah, so that was it. So the question was, I'll start again. Have you been to the US before? I said, yes, I have. And the lady was like, okay, when were you in the US? What did you come for? Then I told her. The second question was, who is your sponsor? I told her, my father is my sponsor. Then she asked me, what does your dad do for a living? Like, do you understand? I'm not like going straight up telling her my father is my sponsor. My father does this for a living. He's a this, he's a that. Mm-mm. I'm trying to, because, to be very honest, like, you'll be tense. Like, you're a human being, you're going to be tense at the end of the day. So for me, what helped, like, to control my emotions or whatever, was that I was answering the question. I was giving them small, like, step by step. Meanwhile, I was being confident in my voice, so that they'll be like, oh, this girl, why is her voice shaking? Is it that she doesn't know what she's doing or something like that? So there's a difference. Meanwhile, okay, this I can remember this particular question. They asked the girl who was her, the girl in front of me, because everybody's going to hear your answer. They asked her, who was the sponsor? She was like, my dad is my sponsor. He does, I can't really remember the business her dad does, but, like, he's a businessman. He owns 32 houses in Lagos. He owns this one, he owns that. This girl gave details. I was really like, hey God, oh, my father doesn't own 32 houses in Lagos. What am I going to do? So can you see the details? And yes, they gave the girl visa at the end of the day. She got the visa. Like she gave valid answers. But I still stick to my own plan because I don't want to go and jabber myself. Do you understand? So the next question is oh yeah, so I said they asked me who was your sponsor, who's your sponsor. I was like, my father is my sponsor. What does your dad do for a living? I said he did for what he does for a living rather. And then um the next question asked me is, what is the purpose of your visit? Educational purpose. They know, like obviously they have your I-20 with them, because like when you get it, they're going to ask you for the I-20. They can see this, but they just want you to answer. They want to know if you know what you're going there for. They can go ahead and still ask you what course are you studying, what do you plan on studying. You tell them what you plan on studying, right? So the next question for me was, what's the purpose of your visit? I said educational purpose. Then she asked, what are you studying? I told her the course I was studying. And then she went ahead to say, um, do you have a relative in the US? I was asked this question. Now, if you have somebody in the US, you can tell them, yes, I have somebody in the US. But people choose not to say they have people in the US because they feel like they might get like declined or whatever. You can't choose to say anyone. But what I would say is that before your visa interview, you have this form called, I think, DS 160. I don't know, I can't remember. I shall DS something form. And in that form, they'll ask you, what do you have a sibling in the US? Do you have a relative in the US? Whatever you put on that form that's exactly what you should say in the visa interview. Because you can't say, yes, I have a sister in the US, and in the visa interview you're like, no, I don't have a sister. They'll be like, why are you saying two different things? What are you being shady about? Because, like, mind you, these people have already, like, they have your details before you even walked to meet them. They are looking, they've already seen your information, they know everything. They just want you to talk, they just want to hear from you. No need to lie. Whatever you put on your DS form, that's what you should tell them. Do you understand? Okay, moving on. Um, so I was asked, do I have a relative in the US? I said yes, I do. And then she asked, oh, she didn't. Okay, so this next question, I was not asked this question, but I had a friend that she was asked this question. She was asked, what is his or her status? That's if you have somebody in the US. So you can say he's a green card holder, he's a permanent resident, depending on whoever is in the US is, right? And I'm just going to take us back to a previous question. Does I have a friend, a friend. She was asked who's her sponsor, and she said her brother is her sponsor. Now her brother is in the US, and honestly, when she said that, I was like, okay. And then she told me how the interview went and everything, and she was denied. I was like, why would they deny her? I mean, she was truthful, you know. But thinking about it, different people were giving me their opinion and everything. But what major people were saying is because they feel like if you have somebody in the US that is probably doing so well, that is going to sponsor you, they just feel like don't you don't have chances of coming back. Like there's no plans of coming back. You really have somebody there that is you, so you want to go and join them, something like that. Do you understand? So basically, I was made to understand that they don't want, like, whatever you're saying, it should be tied to you coming back to your country. If you say you have a sponsor and it's your daddy, where's your daddy? In Nigeria. Meaning, may I don't. You shall come and meet your daddy. Do you understand? Whatever you're saying should be tied to Nigeria. I just remembered that one, so I just wanted to put that one out there. And then the next question is about your school. Where is your school located at? Now you should know where your school is located at before you even go for a visa interview. You should study your I-20 form. Your I-20 form is where you have the name of your school, your advisor's name, the first person to contact when you get to the US, the address, your tuition. You should know everything there because definitely they're going to ask things from there. So they say, where is your school located at? You tell them, oh, it's located at for my school is Texas Tech University, so it's located at Lubbock, Texas. Just put it out there. And then for your course of study, the course you're studying, they might eventually ask you, why did you pick the course you're studying? Now, whatever you're saying, always link it to Nigeria. Always link it to, let it show that you have this passion for Nigeria. Let it just show that Sha coming back to this country kind of question, and it should be realistic. It should be very realistic. Um but after giving them like the what's it called, the reason why you're studying whatever you plan on studying, the next question they'll ask is, do you plan on coming back to your country? Please say yes. I mean, you should already know this by now. Say yes that you plan on coming back. Moving on to the next question. You could be asked, where would you be residing in the US? You can say off campus or on campus, is meaning where you are staying. I wasn't asked this question, but it's possible questions you could be asked. I'm just putting it out there. Um, I was asked, how long is your program? That's on your I-20 still. It's for 2 years. Remember, they just want to know if you know what you're doing. And then they asked, have you booked your flight ticket? I said, I mean, I haven't booked my flight ticket, so because if I said I have, I think I should have showed proof. But people say when you tell them you have booked your flight ticket, it just shows this kind of like confidence level, like, oh, you already know you're getting your visa, so it just increases your confidence level and increases your chances of getting your visa. But I don't know about that. I did not book my flight ticket, so I just told them no, I haven't booked my flight ticket. Um, um, they also asked me, what have you done for a living? I told them I just finished my NYSC. I did not say NYSC. I told them the full meaning, Nigerian Youth Service Corps. So I told them that, I just completed that, and I completed that at Nigerian Breweries, and I plan to go for my masters. Or if you're working, you tell them where you're working. Um, are you married? Do you have kids? I wasn't asked this question. But if you are, you tell them. If you don't, if you're not, you also tell them. Do you have any intentions of remaining in the US? They are definitely going to ask you this question so that they just have this assurance that you're not going to their country to stay. So you tell them yes, that you plan on coming back to Nigeria. And then they'll ask, what do you plan to do after graduation, after you have completed like the master's program or PhD program? So now my initial plan was to say that, because I applied for educational psychology, my initial plan was to say, okay, so I'm coming back to build a school to train young children in Nigeria to blah blah blah. That was honestly my plan. But now this is the importance of talking to people, not too many people, but like getting their own point of view and how their experience was and what questions they were asked. After getting what they have to say, then you can now think of, okay, what should I say and how should I say it at the end of the day. So that was what I planned on saying. But I reached out to a few friends I had in the US, few friends I know that they've gone for the interview, either they got it or they did not get it. And then one of my friends told me, shout out to Fola. It was Fola that told me. He was like, it doesn't make sense to say you want to. This was the night before my interview, you guys. It was like, it doesn't make sense to say you are, what's it called now? I'm coming back to build a school. Like, do I know how much it takes to build a school? I have to be very realistic of what I'm coming back to do. So he doesn't think me coming back to build a school is realistic. It did not make sense until Paula said it, and I was like, oh, it actually doesn't make sense. How am I going to come back? With which money? Do you understand? So he was like, I should link it back to something that I have in Nigeria, where I have been to, what I have done. So I studied in Cornell University, I studied sociology, and I'm going to study educational psychology. So I can just link that. I can just be like, okay, I'm coming back to like my previous university to as a to apply as a psychologist or to apply as an educational psychologist, she had to work in the university. So it made sense. So what I eventually, and they asked me that question funny enough, and then I told them that I plan to work as a school counselor in Covenant University by the time I am back. So the woman was like, Covenant University, like, where is that coming from? I was like, oh, that's where I got my first degree from. She was like, oh, okay. So that's the last question I have here that I practiced with. And you can add more questions to this. You can Google more questions, but my advice is don't overwhelm yourself. Talk to specific people, hear what they have to say, and then you self as a human being, reason it and type it out, write it down, look at it, even if it's not every day, but consistently so that you can be used to it. If you're the type of person that wants to practice in front of the mirror or something, you can do that. But I practiced with my cousin, like she was asking me and then I was responding. And then don't overwhelm yourself. People are going to tell you so many things. I'm a kind of person that I like positivity. Like if I'm about to do something and I know I'm really like scared and paranoid about something, I don't want to hear anything negative. Just be positive, okay? So be conscious, be conscious about the people you're with. Just be positive, so that you can just get to the interview and give them this positive feeling, positive response and all that. So we've come to the end of today's video. If you have any questions, don't forget to drop it in the comment section, or you can send me an email, or you can DM me on Instagram. Any of the platforms, I'm definitely going to respond. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe. See you in my next video. Bye.